Okay, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is yet another episode of Let's Take a Walk. This is season three. Count them three, y'all. Season three, episode two. Um, Tonight we have a little change of pace. We here at El Tall, we like to do a little something different to keep the people guessing, keep the people informed, but also keep them guessing and that type of thing. So tonight, um, I gathered together this group of professionals that you see before you, to talk about something that's important, particularly in our community, and that's home ownership. Ownership, period. But just home ownership is just so important in our community, and so I gathered together these professionals to kind of give us a little cheat code on how, as homeowners and home buyers, how to move around in today's market, with everything that's going on. We're going to talk about some of the things that they look for as realtors and real estate people, and talk about what we should look for as home buyers and homeowners, when we talk about buying and selling, and just overall, commerce in that lane, in that vein. So without further ado, for those of you who may not be familiar with these individuals, I'm going to give them an opportunity to kind of reintroduce themselves individually, and then we're just kind of gonna go from there. So with that being said, Miss Mr. and Mrs. Collins are gonna start first. So with that being said, it's on you. You got
Well,
the
thank
floor.
you for having us. We are Chuck and Ronti Collins. We call our business Abundant Life Realty because we want everyone to have the abundant life. There's a piece of the pie for everyone. It's just all about getting educated. So we're originally from California, but we've been in Virginia for 16 years. So Virginia is definitely home now. And for us to leave Cali for Virginia tells you how we feel about Virginia. So I feel like Virginia is a great place for people to live. And we're just all about encouraging families to get home ownership, because we actually, it took us quite a while to get our first home. We've been married 16 years. We have 6 kids. We didn't get our house till our 4th child. So I feel like, hey, we're the perfect advocate to tell people it's never too late to get into home ownership. And then after that, we got into real estate when we realized how important home ownership was.
Yep, totally agree.
Okay, Mr. Anderson.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Chad Anderson, originally from Rochester, New York. Moved down to Charleston, South Carolina, a good year and 2 months now. My brand, I've been working on my own personal brand for a number of years now. It's called the Senna Team, and the actually Senna are my kids' initials. C is for Chad Jr., E is for Emmanuel, and the N is for my youngest member of the tribe, Anderson, named Nico, and the A is for Anderson. So, everybody, as realtors and agents and everybody in this industry, they always talk about what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing, right? So that's my why. And coming up with that brand, all I can think about are my kids, leaving legacy and, just being that example. And again, just like Chuck and Ranty talking about home ownership, and I want them to understand, that this is how you build wealth. So, so that's my why. So that's why it's called the Senna Team. I'm brokered by EXP Realty. So, and I love it down here in Charleston. I'm still trying to get used to the weather, though. I'm a little too dark for all that heat, bro. Nah. I love it down here. I love it down here. So, but I definitely.
All right, Miss Royal.
Hey everyone, I am Letitia Royal. I am your Royal Real Estate Lady. And I call myself that because, again, my last name is Royal. And I believe that we are all king and queens. And my whole thing with real estate is I want to be able to crown everyone king and queen of their own castle. That's my brand. So every time I do a closing, I really legit crown everyone king or queen of their castle. And I kind of caught on with that because I just thought it was such an amazing feeling to watch them get those keys to the castle, to the penthouse, to whatever it is that they're owning. I call mine the Royal Chateau. But whatever they call their home, I want to be able to make them feel like they're king and queens of their home. I got into real estate I've been in real estate for about 10 years, but on the wholesale investing side, and decided to get my license 2 years ago. So basically what inspired me to do that was my grandmother was 95 years old when she passed away, but she was a real estate agent. She was an investor. She was a restaurant owner, a mother of 6, the first serial entrepreneur I ever met. And I didn't even know what that was. Okay. So I do know that is where I get my entrepreneurial spirit. And why I wanted to be in this industry. And as the Collins said, home ownership is so important. I believe we should own. My motto: buy the block. Okay. So I want to be able to develop homes and have affordable housing, because we're, as you can see, people are getting priced out of the market. And what was affordable once affordable is becoming non-existent sometimes, especially living down here in Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm in the Jacksonville, Florida area. I'm with Florida Mortgage Realty and Homes.
Wow.
Awesome. Hold 1 second.
And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention we're with Cova Home Realty. Since you all mentioned your brokerage, I forgot to mention that.
Shame on you. No, I'm just joking. So, as I kind of alluded to earlier, home ownership of any kind, really, but home ownership. I like to pose this question to each one of you individually. Why is it important for me to own a home?
You want to go?
I guess I'll go first. I'll say, for one, you're owning an asset, versus, renting out. To me, I just see that as you're just throwing money away, versus you owning an asset. It's going to, it's going to help you out in the future. You can refi, you can sell, there's a abundance of things that you can do when you have an asset. And, it's looked at in a positive way, basically.
Right. And just to add on to that, like you were saying, you can eventually rent it out. You can eventually Airbnb it. You never know what the future holds. And a lot of times people want to just get that dream home. You don't have to start off with your dream home. Like our first home was not a dream home, but we used that to catapult us when we got our next house. And then we used that as a rental. And then we got the house that we really wanted. So people need to think bigger, because it really can create wealth. And, I want to give a shout out to the military people, because this is a very military area. Yes. I just have to give a testimony of one of my clients. I sold him a house in 2019. He was in the military. He just got orders to move again. And, a lot of military people are kind of scared to buy because they know they're going to leave. Mm-hmm. He made money, honey. In those 3 years, he made a very nice amount of money, instead of just renting, to be able to walk away and get that money that is tax-free because he lived there for 3 years. There's no other way you can make that amount of money and not be taxed on it, like capital gains, So it's literally how you build wealth.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'll piggyback. Go ahead.
It's definitely wealth building. And again, you can borrow against your equity. If you trying to put your kids through school, it's like you're borrowing from yourself instead of having to go out and get a loan, some unsecured loan or something like that that's going to put ridiculous amount of interest on it or anything like that, and then start affecting your credit. So it's the money is there. It's in you're living in your investment, and it just sets you up. It sets your family up in the long run. And when you do decide to sell, the amount of money, just like Ronnie was saying, like maybe people, I feel like people, they want their dream home so bad, it prevents them from taking that first step because they
Yes.
want what they want, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We want what we want. You have to understand though, like, especially if you don't have the financial means to just, I can get what I want right now, then build that wealth, because you just never know what it can do for you in the long run. Or again, what can happen to the market that this particular house is in. You know, like where I live, people were buying houses that were 200K, 250, 300K. And now they're worth like 600, 700K. Yeah, and they bought them like, some years ago, a good 5 years ago. So literally just that jump in the market gave them that much equity, and they haven't even paid off the house yet. So it's definitely, you have to, have those conversations. And it doesn't cost money to talk to any one of us. Just have a conversation and just kind of, it's all about educating yourself and just understanding what home ownership can do for you. So definitely, like, especially we talk about inflation prices, and, I've heard some people say, and, I've debated this with some of my peers about renting, and I'm like, no, because inflation, what's going to happen to the rent? Because these property owners and landlords, they have expenses to pay, right? So what's going to happen to your rent? It's going to go up. Your mortgage is a fixed expense on your budget. It's not going to go up. So, it's those, buyers definitely need to start having conversations right now, and not being scared about going for home ownership or interest rates right now or anything like that. So.
And because you guys have said practically everything, I will be the one to just give an example. Everything you all said is totally true. It's about wealth building. It's about having that asset. It's about building that equity. So for me, I've bought 3 homes. This is my 3rd home that I've purchased. My daughter is 23 years old. My daughter had a baby, and she was going to college. And when she came back home, I said, listen, you want your own place? I'm not paying $1,400 for an apartment. Okay. It was $1,400, $1,500 a month. I said, listen, you got good credit. When she graduated with a 732 credit score. She was working for 2 years. My daughter bought her first house at 20 years old.
Wow.
Years old in Atlanta, Georgia. She bought her house. She just sold her house 10 days before her 23rd birthday, which was in June. Walked away with $100,000 in equity. My
praise break.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
what I believe in teaching my children. I'm a mother of 8. I didn't say that before. I'm a mother of 8, and I have a bonus baby, so technically 9. So I teach each and every one of my children about wealth building, because God forbid anything happen to me, I want them to understand how to carry on, the importance of having this money to reinvest in something. So she's now taken that money, and we now own 2 Airbnbs.
Wow.
So we opened our Airbnb in May, the end of May. Well, actually June. We acquired it in May, but we didn't officially go live until June. We have now already grossed over $40,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that money, if we wouldn't have had that money to pull from home ownership, we would have never been in this position. You get what I'm saying? I've been an entrepreneur for now 15 years, but had I not gained that knowledge of how important it is to build wealth and then teach your children what it means to build wealth, I refused for her to bring my grandchild into the world and then rent, and we're just throwing away money that we would never see again. Now, not knocking any renters, not knocking anyone who's renting, because you got to start somewhere.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, when you know better, you do better. So now me teaching her that, she is now getting ready to purchase her 2nd home, building it at 23.
Wow. Yeah.
So I thought I would add an example, since you guys had all the meat and potatoes. I threw a little example in there.
No, that was amazing.
Yeah.
You're inspiring us.
That was
Right.
awesome.
I just feel like, growing up, I never was taught that. I come from, single mom. She worked hard, and I love my mother. I get my grind effort, from her. I saw how hard my mother worked as a single parent, raising a man child and stuff like that, and I ran streets or whatever, and really wasn't taught what it was to, about real estate or anything like that, or property ownership and things like that. So just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? But then once, you get older, and you become a little bit more wise to things. It's like, wow, had I would have known, maybe I could have bought my first house at 20 years old and their lease was like 23, you know? So it's just those things like, wow, you know, and now that I'm a father to 3 boys, I definitely, y'all need to know, you need to understand, you know, like you got to do better than what I did, you know? And that's like again, my why. That's the center. That's my why. They have to do better than I did. They don't got to be real estate agents. But I just said, whatever it is you want to do, you do it 150%. So then you have that financial resource to invest into real estate. Because no matter what happens with the economy, people need a roof. They need somewhere to live. This is the one industry, like no matter what happened, it might slow down and fluctuate and stuff. But at the end of the day, this is the one industry where you're always going to make money. You just have to be there to help, you know, those buyers and sellers get what they need.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So tell me this, guys. Let's just kind of get to the meat of it then. I since I've been listening to you guys, the common thread is like generational wealth and building equity and, you know, building a stable foundation for the generations that come in after you. Okay. So my question to you guys is, in you guys' own personal experiences, what if you had to name one thing? What's the biggest mistake that home buyers make when first beginning the process?
That's a good one. Woo.
Who wants to go first?
You could go first. You sound like you got something.
I got a lot. And the reason why I say a lot, because when you're in this industry, you're dealing with a lot of different situations. Everybody's circumstance is different. No one who's purchasing a house circumstance looks the same. And one of the biggest mistakes I see home buyers is just thinking that this process is going to be easy. They don't have, how can I say, they don't have realistic expectations. You know what I mean? This is a process. It's going to be some up and downs. I tell people, look, I know home ownership is a big deal. It's a major purchase. And we have to take this very serious. But at the same time, you can't be so emotionally attached that when something doesn't go right, you're willing to bail out or you're going to sabotage your deal or whatever the case may be. If an offer is not accepted, you want to quit. I mean, it's so many things that buyers just have just these unrealistic goals. So my job is when I have my consultation, I get to the meat of it. It's more than just, hey, how you doing? So what are you looking for? What's your budget? We talk about the realness of home ownership. You know, you don't want to be in your closet on your face and prostrate before the Lord, crying about, you know, these underwriters and these last minute things that happen. Oh my God, something just popped up on my credit. All of these things play a factor in the home ownership process. So just educating your buyers on having realistic goals, that is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Don't go buy a car. Look, don't go buy a car and you know you're buying a home. Don't go get it and you know you're buying a home. You know what I mean? You know, at least if you know that you're getting ready to purchase in 6 months to a year, start saving. Because you have these unexpected things that come up. You may have to pay for an additional appraisal, or it's so many different things that happens and they're not prepared. And then now it's your fault. You know, we're the problem. And they don't want to take accountability that, hey, I didn't have that basic robotic conversation with you. We got down to the meat and the potatoes of what I expect and what you should expect from me. So
I feel like you just went ahead and got revenge on us and just all the answers. You just all the answers. She's just like, all right, hold on. I got something to say. You just took everything. Right. But she's right, though. You know, I would say that is like the number one thing. They have unrealistic expectations about the process. So you do have to have that. Yo, I don't sugarcoat the conversation. This is what it's going to be. It's going to test your patience. And I would say outside of that, just them being prepared. You know, when you have that conversation, they understand like, okay, all right, it's going to be a process. It's going to be a process. And look, when there's timetables, if it says we need to have paperwork by X day at X time, you need to be ready. I can't have you like, oh, okay, and now you got to go through, 11 different file folders and, go get the shoebox that got some tax documents in it or something like that, trying to put everything together. So they definitely need to be prepared. If you're going to start this process, that for their side will I'm not saying it's going to relieve everything, but being prepared with all the documentation you're going to need when you start talking with lenders and things like that, you need to be on top of that because things become time sensitive. Or if you do get your offer accepted, you're going to have to be on it. You know how many times I've had to tell some buyer clients, like, look, we just got our offer accepted. I can't be calling you and I'm getting your voicemail. I'm calling you right back and I keep getting your voicemail or you're not returning emails. If you know this is where we are in the process, I need you to be like this, staring at your phone. I don't care what you're doing, because I might need something at the drop of a dime, and I need you to be able to respond to me very, very quickly.
Right.
So, you got to have those conversations and set those expectations with your clients. And sometimes, some people aren't comfortable having those hard conversations, but I'm telling you, if anybody else is out there, and I'm sure, Chuck and Ronti and Letitia do it, like you gotta have those hard conversations and not be scared to, let them know and set those expectations, because they will respect you in the long run and thank you, so definitely every single thing of the dinner that Letitia just put out there. And I'm gonna add on that they need to be prepared with their documents.
Listen, exactly. I mean, look, I'm gonna just add on a little bit too, because they basically said, but look, that's why I like being on a team, because I like to make him do the hard conversation.
I'm getting my husband to come on board because I need a team.
Yeah, do it, sis, because we get emotional sometimes, but like they said, I mean, the unrealistic expectations, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sometimes they're watching this HGTV. They watch HGTV, and they think that you do you look at 3 houses, you put offer, you type it in, and that's like,
and that's it.
Reality.
Yeah, and I think making, sometimes they get that pre-approval letter and they're like, I'm approved for this much. Just because you're approved for that much doesn't mean you should get a house for that much. And I think the one piece of advice I would give to buyers is, we have to work very close with the lender. I always like to be like, what is that monthly payment going to look like? Don't look at that big number. What is that monthly payment going to look like? Because that's the bottom line. Because you don't want them to get to the closing table and be like, ooh, that hurts, So I would say that's the biggest mistake, is just going by that pre-approval number instead of a good monthly figure that they're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I would definitely say, because now with look, COVID spoiled consumers, right? Interest rates got down to like 2.47%, and and now you're getting more house. Your dollar went further, right? Now they're up to, between 5 and 6%, and everybody's like, oh my God, interest rates are so. But if COVID never happened, we haven't seen 2.47%. We wouldn't have seen that, So they're up there, but they're still typically better than they have been in the past. Once they started, once you get through the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s and stuff like that. So you have to really think about, okay, like Ronti said, you don't focus on that big number. Because if you do that, you might find yourself like, oh my God, I'm living like just over broke right now. You know what I mean, John, right? You know that, right?
Right.
So, they have to be realistic. And then you have to start thinking about what that interest rate is going to do. If you don't have the 20% down, then okay, you might be dealing with mortgage insurance, right? A PMI. Or like down where I'm at, and I'm sure probably where you guys are too, some if you're living in a community or some type of development, you might have what they call an HOA fee. That might tack on another $500 or $1,000 to your payments and stuff, and then the taxes. So
flood insurance,
right? Yeah, flood insurance. Yeah. So I mean, there's all kind of factors that go into that, and people, they just focus on, oh, this is what I'm approved for, and that's where I want to live. Okay, well, let's crunch some numbers. Okay, numbers. I'm not saying let's not look at places, but again, it goes back to that being realistic about your finances and the process and everything else. And You know, like they said, then they get mad when you start saying, well, this is what it's going to be. What? Oh, then you get an attitude from, you know, them like, look, I didn't just throw out a number. I'm helping you make informed decisions. So, you know, you might get that pre-approval for that number, but you know, there's a lot of factors that go into what is your budget? What is your budget going to be?
Okay. Chuck and Ronti. When I was scrolling through and I was looking at your profile and your bio and everything like that, I just really find it interesting that you guys are married and you're doing this thing together.
Right.
That has to be a complicated at times, because I'm sure he has a vision, you have a vision, he has a certain goal, you have a certain goal, he has a certain way of doing things, you have a certain way of doing things. How do you guys navigate that as a couple, particularly in this business at this time? You know, to Chad's point, how do you guys navigate, you know, during this time, you know, in this industry? How are you able to?
He asked some good questions.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, you better watch what you say.
He looking out for you. He looking out for you.
I was gonna say, it's right now. It's not that bad because, you know, it was my vision. You know, it all started with when we bought our first house, and you know, our real estate agent, and I just watched everything she did and how she moved, and I was like, man, like, you know, I would love to do that. Like, that just seems like, you know, then it just turned into a passion, and it just became a vision. And I was like, oh man, but you know, I was at the 9-to-5, so I couldn't leave. You know, I was the breadwinner, so I cast vision upon my wife. Like, look, you know, this is what we can do. Let's plan this out. And part of the vision was getting her in it first. You know, and she been in it way longer than me. The plan took longer because, you know, once again, we had to transition to get me over from the 9-to-5 into the entrepreneur world. So once I got into the entrepreneur world, then she started showing me the ropes. And so it was more for me of a learning experience. And, you know, of course I was watching her over the years, but, you know, we do this thing with different personalities. You know, she has her personality, I have mine. But as far as the learning aspect of it, you know, I listen. You know, okay, you know, I take all her advice, watch out for the pitfalls, and, you know, but only thing we kind of collide is like, you know, where we go into different personalities. But other than that, you know, it's more of me listening and learning and, you know, just being humble and just, you know, listening.
That's you took the word out of my mouth, the word humble, humility. I mean, that's the bottom line. It comes down to humility on both of our ends, because there's things I have to humble myself about. There's things he has to humble himself about. And we just have to keep reminding ourselves, we're a team. It's not me against you. It's not you against me. In general, I mean, I'm giving free marriage advice here. I mean, that goes with marriage. That goes with a partnership, whatever, whether it's business or marriage. In both aspects, we're a team. If you succeed, I succeed. If I succeed, you succeed. It's not, you know, we're not against each other. We're rising together. So we're helping each other. And I see the value that he adds, and he sees the value that I add. Like I said, he can have the hard conversations without me having a meltdown. Yeah. So go on and do that, big dog. Go handle that conversation. And I you know, could do a lot of the paperwork and stuff and be with the kids a lot. He could do a lot of the running around to the 7 cities, because we do all 7 cities, and there's a few other cities we do too. So he's able to run around a lot. I'm able to be home a lot with the kids and do a lot of the secretarial type of stuff. So it helps. Like I help him, he helps me. It's just, we just balance it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
And that has to be a great advantage, particularly when you're dealing with married couples, right? So and then even with a single person, I mean, you have that good cop, bad cop dynamic thing that you
Yes, you're spot on. It has really been a benefit. Yeah. Like, even because I could see how it was when I was by myself, and then see how it was with us together. It's been a nice dynamic with having both of us.
Right.
Awesome. Awesome. Chad, my man, Chad, my bro. Um, you
See
know,
how look at the way
as,
he. Oh,
as,
here we go.
as I alluded to earlier, Chad and I grew up in New York and went to same schools and things of that nature. And so we have experienced and seen a lot of things, and we grew up similar in similar ways. And so, with that understanding, you take what you've grown to become accustomed to and comfortable with, and now you down south.
Hmm.
You're down south now, like so, but you're still in the same business. So, what's the biggest adjustment that you've had to make since going from home to new home?
So I got 3 letters for you, and the other 3 on here will know what I'm talking about. It's called SOI, my sphere of influence. Right.
Got you.
Back at home, I was native, right? So that's kind of like our first customer base, our sphere of influence. Who do you know? Co-workers, friends, family, your dentist, your doctor, whoever,
Mhm.
everybody you have in your contact list, emails, cell phones, whatever. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. I do real estate. So by the time I really started rolling, literally all my business came from everybody I knew. My old principal I used to work under at Freddie Thomas, a co-worker of mine helped her buy a house. And then I got a referral from my neighbor that lived across the street from me when I was in Penfield. We were having a garage sale, and this guy walks up and he says, "Hey, you're Chad, right? You do realize?" Like, yeah. He said, "Yeah, Kurt told me I should talk to you. I want you, he had a one of those old mansions down on Park Avenue that was chopped up into 3 units."
Word.
And
Word. Okay.
yeah, so I sold that for him. So I had a sphere of influence at home. Here, nobody know who Chad Anderson is,
Right.
So it was like starting from square one. That was, and I'm very realistic about situations. I knew I wasn't gonna come down here and just like, I'm about to blow up and whatever. So I'm very realistic. I
Right.
will say though, the things I was doing back at home, it really prepared me when I did come down here. I did recently join a team that's he's brokered with EXP and everything like that. But before I did that, and then there was no reciprocity for my license. Us New Yorkers think, well, I can go anywhere. They're gonna take my license, my teaching license, my real estate license. Not so much. So I had to, learn I had to take the test to get my license down here. I didn't have to do national because, national is national, but I did have to, and I didn't want to just jump into the test because I had to learn South Carolina law. There are laws on real estate and stuff like that. So, so I did that, got my license back in November, and I've been licensed ever since. But like I said, being at home and what I did at home to prepare myself as an agent, I started doing down here. So I knew what I had to do. But again, nobody know me. Business, nothing was really manifesting or anything. I taught for 1 year. I quit teaching last year. So I did 1 more year of teaching. Thank you for 1 more year down here, just because, I was new. We needed income, right? So I got a family, got to provide for. So I taught last year, and I actually plan on doing it for 2 years while I work on building my brand and getting established. But it is a different beast down here. And it's not the kids, it's never the kids. It's always the people that make the policies that never taught a day in their life in the classroom that got everything to say on how it should go. I can't deal with that. I couldn't deal with it no more. So I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna make it work. So I after the last school year, I stopped teaching, and it's not real estate is not a part-time job. So when I say I went full-time real estate, it's not that I was doing it part-time, because my hours came from when I got home from work till 2 a.m, and then anything I can fit in throughout my day. So now I'm just focused on real estate. But again, nobody knew me. I'm getting hits. I watch my analytics on my Facebook, on my Instagram. People see me on LinkedIn. They see my ads and everything, but I just was not getting people to funnel into my website, what we call a CRM. So I did some research on a guy that was down here, and I talked to my state broker, and she actually said, "Yeah, I think you would be a really good fit to work with him." So I reached out to him. We met, had a really good conversation, and again, even with somebody, like, I don't sugarcoat, and I'm like, look, this is where I'm at. I'm not too proud, and I'm humble enough, right, to know when I need some help now, right? And that's where I'm at. And I promised myself I would not join the team until I felt comfortable enough that I gave 150% effort to really get it going myself. And it got to the point where, all right, yeah, I need somebody. I need to get with somebody who's already rooted, and just kind of piggyback off of that. And so, and I, we had the conversation, and we both felt like it was a good fit. And so, I joined his team. But the way that our connection is, I like it a lot, though, and I really like his business mind in terms of how he looks at real estate and things like that. So, I do not regret my decision at all. And if I decide to break away, it's a very easy task to do, because sometimes when you join teams, it can get ugly. You talk about breaking away, it can get real ugly. So, but like I said, you have those upfront conversations, get everything in writing, and it's all good. And that's what we did. So, I joined this team. It's the Brian Beatty team down here in Charleston, but he's also EXP. So, it's not like I switched brokerages or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm still with EXP, and I'm just, with on his team. So, but yeah, that was the biggest thing, man. Like, just because I didn't know anybody, nobody knew me. That was like the biggest obstacle. And that's making me grind even harder. And I think Brian even saw that, and my state broker actually talked to him about me. So she knows, I grind hard. So
all New Yorkers do.
Right.
Yes, sir. Miss Letitia. Now Letitia and I also, I grew up in New York, but I graduated Florida. I graduated high school in Florida, which is where Letitia and I met in high school. Very small town.
Right.
Coming from where we're from to was super crazy. People actually said hi to you. They actually looked you in the face and hugged you and all that good stuff. But anyway, that's whole nother thing. Letitia, being a woman of color in this industry, you're already trying to overcome those two factors alone. But as you stated earlier, you've done well to kind of overcome any perceived obstacles that have come at you in your process, and to become very successful in what you do. What would you say? What was your biggest? What was the turning point? Because I know that just from hearing everybody, it was not an easy thing starting off. You go through a certain process. Was there a turning? What was the turning point for you where you were like, okay, I can actually do this. Like, this is an achievable thing where I can actually be successful at this? Or was it a series of events? But was there a defining moment for you?
Well, first, I would like to say I think I'm still in that turning point.
Okay.
Because why I say that is, the hardest thing sometimes in this industry, like Chad said, I moved here and I hadn't been in Florida in over 20 years. I visited, saw my family. I was in and out. I came, saw my family, left. I really did not know anybody anymore. I didn't have, like he said, your SOI. I didn't have people that I could connect with here that knew me. So when I came from Atlanta, Georgia, the first adversity I had was I don't have anybody in my contacts. I don't know anybody. My family is somewhat small, so I did not know how I was going to be able to reach out. And if you've been through training, you're taught on your farm areas. You got to pick your farm area. What area do you feel like you identify with this? None of that made sense to me. I'm gonna be honest with you, because in real estate, you are getting people from all different areas. You know what I mean? It was hard for me to just focus on one. And one of the biggest adversities for me was, like he said, just not knowing where to begin, how to begin. I'm a behind the scenes kind of girl. So I had to learn how to step out of my comfort zone to conversate with people. That was a major thing for me. And you would think, because I got a mouth on me, you would think that wouldn't be a problem. But it was a problem for me to just come out and say, hey, how you doing? And just strike a conversation. If you didn't approach me for whatever reason, we just didn't talk. You know what I mean? So one day I challenged myself. And I think this is where I reached that first. Like you said, it was a series of turning points. This is where I reached my first turning point, where I said, you know what? I had a tragedy that happened to me. I had a brain tumor and I had brain surgery. And I told God, I remember it distinctly. I said, God, if you heal me from this, I'm going to pursue everything that God purposed me to do. And I mean, there were moments where I just felt like I couldn't even do it. You know what I mean? And I knew we were relocating to Florida because we really needed that support system after what I just gone through. We didn't have any family. We just had our children. Everything was on my husband. And I knew that had to be hard for him, even though he never showed it, So we made a decision to move here to Florida. So before we moved here, I was so determined. I said, I didn't care what it looked like. I was sick. I was still struggling with all of the effects from the brain surgery. And I drove 6 hours every week to go to real estate school. Wow. Every week. We had real estate school on Monday and Wednesday. I would come in Monday morning because it was at night. And I would leave out Wednesday right after school and drive right back to Atlanta. That's how determined. Because, when you think about your why, it was more for me than just my kids. It was like, God, what would you have me to do? What is my purpose? What am I destined to be? And I told my husband I'm cheating on him with real estate. I was so into real estate, my TV never leaves HGTV, by the way. And I've always wanted to fix and flip. I've always wanted to develop. This has been in me. And that's why I believe that my grandmother just left that in me. It was just in me. So I was determined that if he can heal me from this tragedy that I was going through, I'm coming for it all. So this turning point I had, I went into Best Buy. I said, I'm going to get me a new laptop. I'm going to get myself ready. And the guy was talking to me about my MacBook. And he began to talk about taxes. I do taxes. So I've been doing taxes for 10 years. And he started talking to me about taxes. He said, one day, we really want to own a home. I said, you do? So I began to come out of my shell. And I said, well, I'm a real estate. I said, he said, you are? So you do taxes and real estate? I said, I sure do. Let me give you my card. I started pulling my card out. Bam, here you go. And I was so excited that I was not afraid to enter into that conversation and tell people what I do. So the first thing I would say is just let people know what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's on Facebook. I don't care if it's your friends. I don't care if it's your mom, your cousin, even if it's your ex. Tell them what you do, because somebody is going to pass that word. Tell them what you do. Get the word out. I'm a real estate agent because all of my business came from word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And one thing I believe is perception is everything. The Army teaches you that. Perception is everything, whether we like it or not. So how you appear to people in the public, that's how you're going to be received. So I always believe in just showing myself friendly. So I'm always smiling. I could be having pain on a scale of 1 to 10, a 10, and I'm still always smiling. Hey, how you doing? And people tend to gravitate. And that was my turning point to say, hey, this is not so bad. I can talk to people. I can network. So now I begin to just start passing out my cards. If I don't just sell, people don't like to be sold. You know what I mean? So I don't just approach people and sell them. I wait for an opportunity and say, hey, oh, by the way, would you mind taking my card? I want to give you my card or whatever. However, that icebreaker, I use an icebreaker, and then I start telling people about what I do. And don't make it always seem all about you. You know, ask those questions. Well, what do you do for a living? You know, just normal questions. So this is what I've done to kind of help me, you know, address that whole anxiety of wanting to talk to people and network. And now I'm dealing with developers. Now I have business. I'm booked and busy. And I'm just saying I'm booked and busy. And I was doing it all from a hospital bed. Literally, I was in and out the hospital closing deals. I was determined because he didn't bring me this far to just leave me. So I felt like if I put in the work, I stayed committed to the process, that I would start seeing the fruits of my labor. So in my first year, even though I was sick, I was closing over $1 million in sales. My first year.
Awesome.
And I'm telling you, people don't know your story. They don't know what you're going through. It was hard. And the one thing that you need in this business is support. Support. I don't care how many people you know, you need that support system to tell you, to keep you going, that you can do it. You got this. Because you're going to get 100 no's. You're going to get a lot of no's. And it's okay. You know, you're going to get a lot of disappointments. You're going to get a lot of things that could go wrong. And it does. It's not the matter of, you know, if, it's when. You know what I mean? It's coming. So you have to be mentally prepared for this business. This is I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to say what some people won't say. This is a shady business.
Oh.
And you got to be very mindful of that energy that you put out there. So I'm a firm believer on just stepping out of your shell, stepping out of your comfort zone, because success is ultimately on the other side of your comfort zone. You got to step out of that shell. You got to be able to push through that pain, whatever that pain is. If it's anxiety, push through it. If it's, you know, the fear of just losing, fail fast. Go ahead and fail. You're going to fail. So why not do it quickly so that you can be back, you know, on the rise. The only way to go is up after that. And then always remembering your why. Why are you doing this in the first place? Is it just to make money? You know, yes, we know that it takes money to live. But my why wasn't just to make money. And I think that is why I'm becoming very successful at what I do. So again, my turning point is a series of things. It's not just one thing that takes place. Every day in this business, I'm learning. I'm learning a new thing of how to present myself, because I guess what I can say is, every time that you approach someone, what may have worked for that last customer may not work for this one. You know, you got your prime example. I had some buyers today that came in town unexpectedly, and they're like, I got cash. Here you go. It don't work like that. We don't take cash. There's a process. We have to submit contracts. You really have to deal with people who really do not know what it takes to get these deals done. They just think you sign on the dotted line and that's it. So you got to learn how to deal with those not so happy or kind customers, you know, and then you got to deal with those very emotional customers who just feel like they'll never be a homeowner. You know what I mean? Because I've had people who was a nervous wreck and I've had to talk them off the ledge, you know, like literally. So there's just so many avenues that come along with this business. You just have to be mentally prepared, remembering your why. And I don't care what anybody says. I always say, and stay prayed up. You just have to.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Real estate.
Yeah, definitely.
Will keep bringing you to your knees. You're going to be praying.
Right.
So okay. So this question is for everybody. Do you think that there's enough? I'm trying to figure out how to frame this question. Do you think that there's enough accessible information for home buyers to reach out? Is it, or rather, is it a matter of not enough education that's accessible, or there's not enough get up and go in the home buyers to get the information? If that makes sense. Did that make sense?
Yeah,
Is it more about me not taking the time to get the information, or is the information not readily available or accessible?
What I think is, like, especially for first-time home buyers, again, people don't know what they don't know, and they may not even know where to look or even what's the first question to ask, right? So they're not familiar on how to get that process started. So there's that type of buyer. But then you might have a buyer who's experienced, who is an actual seller, and then on the other side they're going to buy. And sometimes you get those type of clients who just think, oh yeah, I know everything, I've owned a home before, I've been through this process, and yeah, I know. Like, okay, look here, it changes a lot. All right, it's constantly evolving, and you just have to know, again, just like Letitia said, you got all these different personalities that you're dealing with. And you got to know how to address each one of those personalities. Like she said, whatever worked with the last one is not going to work with the next one. But, Mike, to your point, like with buyers, it's out there. We have this thing called the internet, and you type in some questions in Google. But I think for buyers who do not know, I think the biggest thing is they don't know what question to ask, what question to start with, to even start the process. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
I think the key thing is that they have to trust us, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Trust us.
Yeah. I mean, there's a plethora of information. Like you said, you have all this information, but at the end of the day, if you don't trust us,
right,
we're not going to get through this process, because I'm fighting what your daddy told you, what the Google told
you. But to add on to that point,
your uncles, your nephews, and
is there a point where a client can be too dependent on you for information?
I'm going to say this. The only reason why I'm going to say no is because the deal closes in 30 days.
Right.
I can deal with whatever for 30 days.
Right.
So that's my...
I agree.
That's my answer.
Yeah.
Keep coming to me.
Yeah, ask all the questions. Please ask all the questions.
I really believe that, I always tell my buyers that no, whatever question they have, no question is a dumb question for me. Now I will say there are some things that we just can't do for them.
Right.
They have to take the initiative to do for themselves. Contact your lender back. There are conversations your lender can have with you that they can't have with me. And if you're not responding, you're delaying the process. And what people don't realize is there's a 30-day process. However, when we have to do all these extensions, it's costing you. You know what I mean? Not to mention, let's not talk about these interest rates. We're not even going to talk about how you can easily get priced out because you're procrastinating. You know what I mean? So we have to really be upfront with our buyers, even if it's your sellers. You have sellers that's been in their house for 20 years. They don't know what the market is doing right now. So when you're trying to put their home on the market, they're going by, like you said, your aunties and whoever telling them, oh, you should price it at this amount. And it's unrealistic. This house is gonna sit here until Jesus get back. It's gonna sit here.
He's coming soon, so that might be soon. It might be soon.
So this house is gonna sit here because they're not trusting us as the expert to get the job done.
Trust.
Now, one thing I'm never is pushy. You have to be willing to. You have people who have arrogance. You have to be willing to listen to your customer, whether it's your seller or your buyer. And then even though they're not making sense in what they're saying, there's a way to kind of present it to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't seem like, oh, she know it all. Because people don't receive that either. Even though you're telling them the truth, they don't like that straightforward, say it like it is type of, they want you to babysit them. They want you to hold their hands. It's gonna be okay. I mean, and that's okay. I do all that. I got 8 kids. I do all that. So it's okay. It comes natural for me. However, we just have to be willing to understand what each person needs from us. That's what it's about.
Okay.
I think there's some buyers too that are, and again, I don't think they're too dependent, but they get so dependent on, and they trust us so much because we are the experts, right, of the industry and of our markets. What would you do? And it's like, look, at the end of the day, this is your decision. And I constantly say, do not base your decision on what I say. I'm here to present the information. I'm going to guide you. Again, I want you to make informed decisions, because I do not, if you make a decision based off of me and something goes wrong, I don't want you to say, oh, well, Chad, you said X, Y, Z, L, N, O, P.
Absolutely. And they will do it.
Yeah. So, it's like do not base your decision off of anything I say. I'm just presenting the facts. I play devil's advocate. Okay, yeah, you want to make that decision? All right, let's play the scenario out. So if you do this, maybe this can happen, this can happen, this can happen, or maybe this, and this. So really make an informed decision. Here's the numbers. Here's the research I found on this property. Okay, absolutely. So you need to make a decision. What's your non-negotiables and your negotiables with what you want to purchase? Are you sure this is the area you want to be in? Are you comfortable with paying this much in a mortgage payment? I'm not making this decision for you. I have a house. I'm not living in your house. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the other end of some buyers, especially if they're first time, because I mean, it can be a very scary process, right? So they are going to lean on you, and they are looking at you because you're the expert, but you got to make it very, very clear. Do not make a decision off of me, because I'm not going to be accountable for what might or may not happen. So
that's right. Listen, I often say, like, pastors, barbers, and bartenders
that's quite the group there, man.
Yeah.
And what they all have in common is that at varying levels, they're responsible for people. And whether they're willing or unwilling, they become counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. People share their deepest, darkest issues with these people: pastors, barbers, bartenders.
Yep, that's true.
But the more that I speak with, and I'm listening to you guys, I think that maybe I should add real estate people to the list too.
And you should.
So,
yeah.
With that being said, in addition to the business at hand of actually trying to find a home for someone, you find yourself front and center for 30 days or however long. You're front and center in these people's lives. And so to a certain degree, you're learning their business. You know what I'm saying? Does he have a drinking problem? Does she have a gambling problem? Are they, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, how? I have a 2-part question. Did you have to learn how to block that stuff out? Do you ever learn how to block that stuff out? And the second part of that question is there anyone, based off of the information that that they've given you or that you know about them, is there anybody that you will not work with under no circumstances?
I plead the fifth on that last question. I plead the fifth, but I'll go first. I plead the fifth on that last one. I'm not going to answer that. So, but what I will say is you do ultimately almost become your customer's counselor. You're really dealing with their prized possessions, their finances, their children. These are big decisions. You're showing the wife, the husband, or a single mother with her kids. These are, even with me purchasing my home, I brought my family along because I want my children to feel like this is home. And so when you're talking with your buyers and your customers and your sellers, they're always sharing some of these intimate details of, well, my son is going to college, or this is going on, or that is going on. So I tend to get in a lot of those and I don't know what it is about me, but I'm just a very transparent person. So people tend to gravitate and just tell me things, you know what I'm like? And sometimes I have to be very mindful of how much I share or don't, or allow them to share, if that makes sense. Sometimes when we're oversharing, you kind of got to wheel them back in and get them back focused, because you still want to not breach that professionalism. Does that make sense? You got to keep a boundary. You got to keep some balance. However, I've had customers that knew I was sick or something and called me and prayed with me. I don't find anything wrong with that. We spent hours on the phone just talking and praying and you have no idea what that meant. So some of these customers become lifetime friendships, long-time friendships. And some it's just, for me, I never forget them because I'm always writing down birthdays, the kids' birthdays. So when things come around or certain events, I'm sending out little trinkets, little gifts, little ideas, happy Mother's Day, whatever it is, because it's our job to get to know who we're dealing with. You know what I mean? I don't feel comfortable with just, hey, I'm going to sell you this house and boom, boom, bam, and that's it. I want to know my customer. That's me. So just as much as I've helped them, I've had some of my customers who have helped me.
Yeah, it's we're in the business of building relationships, right? That's what it is. It's like somebody, I don't care if it's a buyer or a seller, it's like them handing you a briefcase of, here's $350,000. Can you find me a house? Or my house is worth $550,000. Here, I'm giving you this money to invest it for me, or to help me sell this investment, right? So when you get to that level of your relationship with your clients to where they feel that comfortable to start sharing, and of course, she's right, you got to set boundaries though. Like, hey, hold on now, right? You do set boundaries to keep that professionalism, but at the same time, like you said, you get the birthdays and, oh, how long have you been married? Oh, you got an anniversary coming up, or, certain things, that events in their lives, things like that. Oh, your wife is pregnant, or, you just had a baby, things like that. So, when you get to that level to where it's just organic, to where they're just sharing things with you, you have established a really good client real estate agent relationship, right? So now and then like I said, sometimes those things turn into long-term friendships, and then that even turns into more business, right? Because they're like, oh, I got somebody for you, and they're gonna refer them. So now you got a referral base again. So those and I'll answer that other question. Not every client is the right fit.
Right.
But it's not, I can't say it's a particular client. It's not a specific attribute or characteristic though. It's just about the person. And when I'm doing my presentation or anything like that, or maybe we before, all right, before we sign the paperwork, let's just kind of, let's just talk a little bit more and, blah, blah, blah. If I'm starting to feel those vibes, I vibe off of people and energy.
Yes.
You're like, I'm energetic, and I like to talk too. I'll talk to anybody and things like that. And again, I believe I'm very transparent also, just like Letitia was saying. I think you have to be to a degree in this business, but sometimes, and I've had some clients that didn't necessarily work out, and it's just like, okay, I can't do this. And it was like one of those situations where they're listening to everybody else, and part of the agreement when you sign that paperwork is that, you're not going to go talk to other people. I'm your realtor. I'm your real estate agent. Why are you talking to, your friend at work, or even another agent for that matter?
Oh yeah.
What are you doing? That's not what you agreed to. Right. So then, you got to be okay with, and I will say it was a learning experience, because you have to be okay. And I've come to learn that you have to be okay sometimes cutting ties. Like, yo, this ain't working out. And I think as newer agents, you know, I can't even say young, because some people get into real estate, you know, much older, but as a newer agent, you're so bent on, nah, this is my client, you know, and I'm their agent, and I gotta fix this. We gotta, you know, make this work. So you're gonna drive yourself crazy, and you gotta be okay with like saying, nah, this isn't gonna work. So, you know, I can refer you out to another agent in my brokerage, or or just in the contract, you know, and just cut the ties. So yeah, there are some people I won't work with, but what type of people, I can't speak to that. It just depends on what is the vibe when I meet them, or what starts to transition after they sign paperwork, you know. So, and I've become very comfortable with cutting ties if I had to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good thing. I agree with everything both of you said. But the good thing about us having a team, sometimes maybe I might not work with the person, like maybe he meshes better with them and vice versa. So that helps a lot.
Right.
But you know, like the saying says, all money ain't good money. You know,
Right.
you do have to know when it's not working. And like you said, you hit everything on the nail at the beginning. Sometimes people feel like, oh, I have to, but you know, as you go through it more and more, you start to know which ones work. You're like, oh, this person might be better for you. You know, sometimes like this person might be better for you. You know, so and then there sometimes, you know, like the main thing is trust, right? That's what we were saying, trust. If they don't trust you, got to cut the cord. Like, I'm like, you're not listening to anything I'm saying. You're not trusting me.
Right.
Just like again, it's almost like a marriage. If you don't trust, you can't, you know, it's not going to work. And it's almost the same thing with real estate. It's like, if you don't trust your agent, it's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes when even when you're doing the interview with them, sometimes your personalities just don't match.
Don't mesh. Right.
You know, so you know, that's also a clear indication that, you know, okay, this is not going to work. You know, you're telling them stuff, and you know, and it's just when the interview is going sideways, you just pretty much know, you know, that's a red flag. Like,
because it's only, you know, like y'all talked about, it's a difficult process. So if you're already being difficult at the beginning, it's like, what's going to happen when, you know, the hard stuff comes?
So,
you know?
So in you guys' case, do I have 2 shots or 1?
Yeah,
so like if let's say I'm talking to Chuck, right? Chuck comes to Ron, pulls Ron to the side and is like, look, this dude, I can't deal with him. Does he 1 send you in, or does he 2 say, since he can't deal with me, we can't deal with me?
No, we pretty much tell our customers, you know, you getting, you know, 2 for the price of 1. But yeah, you know, if I feel like they're a better match for her, I'll send them to her, and vice versa. You know, so we, you know, we'll talk about it, and we will switch, you know, if our personality's not clashing, I mean, not connecting, then, you know, I'll send them to her, or she'll send them to me.
Yeah. And, you know, on that same tip, that's not always the reason why. Sometimes just even with our schedule, you know, but to answer your question, yes, you know, we'll bounce people off of each other, but also just with our schedule, sometimes, okay, you're going to have to work with this person because I have a listing appointment, you know, so we have to like line up our schedules also.
Right.
Okay. And I will say what, like Chad said, I didn't want to say what specific people would I work with or not work with, but I will say you have to know when it's okay to walk away.
Right.
I'm cool. Like, if I see that this thing is not working, I'm okay with cutting ties. I mean, they may not be okay, but I'm okay with cutting ties. I mean, I've had a difficult situation where nothing I said, this person listened. And it was, I mean, I believe a couple of these gray hairs they caused. I really do. Because they would not, I mean, nothing. I mean, very confrontational, just would not listen. So there's a point where you have to say, hey, this is becoming a waste of my time at this point. I'm not in this to waste your time. And I'm surely not allowing you to waste mine. So, and this is a question that I know I'm not the one hosting, but this is a question that I actually was brought to me, and I'm still thinking on it. There are some real estate agents who are now charging consultation fees.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just found this out and I was like, whoa. And then so my first initial thought was, that's ridiculous. I mean, you're just coming to talk to me about the home buying process. But no, how it works is if they are deciding to purchase a home and they want to move forward and they got a pre-approval, they initiate a fee in case this person is not doing what they're supposed to do and they're not, or they like you said, go consult another agent, and next thing you know, they're bouncing with this agent. They've wasted all your time. You've shown all these houses. You've been on numerous phone calls. So you're going to have this $500 non-refundable fee for wasting my time. But if you close on your home, you get that back.
Now, I will say this. Now, I'm not a real estate person.
I've never heard of that till now.
No, I've never heard it. I do know that some in some states, some areas, you know, they do, because even on ours, I feel like, you know, there's a spot in the contract that says, you know, there's like a retainer fee or something like that, but nobody I know ever
done it. I've left it blank.
No, I've never. I can see that though. I can see that because we do put a lot of work, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand the amount of work that we actually put into, even from the seller side. Sellers want to ask you in a minute, like, are you going to cut your commission? Oh, well, here's the tier of level of work that I'll do then. You know, if you're going to give me 7%, I'm going to have a food truck. I'm going to have 2 open houses. I'm going to, you know, I'm knocking on everybody's door. I'm doing a raffle and like everything. But if you want me to take a 3% commission, then okay, well, then I'm just gonna throw it on the MLS. I'm not even gonna put a yard sign.
Let it sell itself, right?
All right, I'm just gonna put it on MLS.
I mean, I'm not a real estate person, of course, but I will say that there is something to be said for investment. Like people tend to take things more serious when they're invested.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I'm dealing with Letitia, right? 9 times out of 10, the average person, not me, but the average person, right? I'm talking to Letitia, but I'm also talking to Chad. And then I just happen to run into Ronti and Chuck. So I'm dealing with, as the customer, I'm basically dealing with all 3 of y'all, seeing, number one, who's gonna get back to me the fastest, and who's going to give me the best deal. And so there's really no real investment in any one of you unless you're giving me what I'm asking for. So with that being said, I feel like, I mean, I could. And it's crazy that I'm saying this because I'm the home buyer or whatever, our potential home buyer, home seller.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see where a person, after doing all this groundwork for a person who might have never had any intention of doing, and I'm sure you guys come across that too.
Yeah. People
who would never, they make you go through all this stuff, but never really had no real intention on pulling the trigger on anything. They're just curious to see if they were to decide.
Right.
That
they just
then
drained us for
maybe
information.
Yeah.
They just drained us for a whole bunch of information. And then at that point, it's when, like, okay, look, if you really want to move forward, then, you know, we can talk about some paperwork, you know, and get some paperwork signed. And I can really go put my resources and the network of people I work with and, you know, my peers to work to make this happen, you know. But, you know, if not, then, you know, you might have to have your conversation with somebody else. Like, I'm not about to just start, you know, just giving up free information and spending time and like, oh, would you look into, you know, you might get a freebie or a quick CMA on your property or something like that, or I might look into something for you, but you know, you're not about to milk this cow. You gotta slow down.
But 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna tell you that I'm talking to these other 2. I'm just gonna see what you can do versus what they can do, and then maybe possibly go from there. And like I said, there's some people who may, the person that goes to the car lot with no really intention on buying anything, they just want to see if they were to fill out the paperwork, would they be able to get to, what I'm saying? It's like, I can kind of understand if you've been burnt enough times, maybe you might say, okay, $50, $75, okay, and I kind of get that. Am I wrong for that?
Listen, gas is an arm, a leg, and a kid. So with that being said, I'm going to be honest. I never thought about it till it was brought to me. And I said, because it happened to me. We are spending our own money, putting gas in our car, wear and tear on our car. We're out in this hot sun. I live in Florida, so you can imagine. I'm out in this hot heat. And even though they have the pre-approval, they're ready to purchase, so to speak. And then you want to write a contract. So now I got to do all this paperwork to put the contract through for you to say, well, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. When it's time to, give the binder or your earnest money. Now you don't want to move forward. So you're wasting my time. You got me going to all these houses, wasting this gas, taking time away from my family, all of the scheduling. This is a real factor. And I know people don't want to say my time costs, but time is the one thing you can't get back. It does cost. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that if you're really serious about this process, you're really serious about building financial wealth, well, show me.
Right.
Show me.
You know what?
Go to the doctor and be like, yo, doc, can I get a checkup real quick? I just want to, compare you to another doctor. They gonna want to know, well, what's your insurance? You got a copay? You ain't gonna get no checkup. You're not about to do all that work for nothing.
Right.
For nothing. Yeah.
But I think it goes back to boundaries again, because once you've been burned enough times with people wasting your time, because we talk about it all the time.
Right.
Once you get burned enough times, you could kind of feel when someone's wasting your time. Your antennas start being like, you know what, I don't think this person's serious. And you're not scared to lose that person. You're not scared to lose people that aren't serious. And again, it goes with the boundaries. For example, I don't like to show more than 4 houses to a person in a day. After 4, it starts blurring all in your brain. You don't remember which house was what.
Exactly.
Just things like that. I'm not going to show you 20 houses in a day. Like, we're going to do 4 houses in one day. Now, I might do 4 with one client and 4 with another. But, again, it just comes to the boundaries. Again, you set your boundaries. And if the client's not willing to abide by those boundaries, then, it's just not going to work.
Not a good fit.
And even in that process, like she just said, even in that process, by then, of course, I don't know what anyone else do, but I don't show a home if you don't have a pre-approval. We're not just going out looking for fun. And this is just to safeguard you. And I always tell people, and how I explain it to my customers is, this is so, in this market, we got to be quick. So we need to be able to show this seller that you got, you are ready. You're a serious buyer. And if you don't have a pre-approval, then it's no need for us to show you, because they're not going to take your offer serious. You have to be pre-approved. We need to know that you can even afford this. Also, there's another issue. We need to be able to know what you can afford. So we don't want to go looking for homes that are outside the budget, and then you're emotionally tied to this home, and now you can't get approved for it. So there's different factors of, by that time you get to that process of showing those 4 homes, and even though they got this pre-approval and all of this, your time has already been wasted, especially when they don't follow through the process. You go show 4 homes, and then on that 5th home, they go buy a car. Or, on the 5th home, you've explained the process about your credit utilization. So they max out their card. So now it's hard to draw a boundary, because you never know what they're going to do. You know what I mean? So the reason why, when this was brought to me, I was like, wow, if you talk to a lawyer, you're going to pay what?
The
Consultation fee.
retainer.
Retainer.
You know, you're going to do a retainer. A retainer is once you retain them, but they're going to make you pay a consultation fee, most of them, just to counsel with them for you to decide if you're going to retain them. So my thing is, it makes sense. You know what we do, it's so many moving parts. I don't think it's fair for them to feel like it's okay for us to drive you around the world until you decide, oh, this the one. And then when you say this the one, you do something to sabotage the deal, or you walk away. And I mean, I've had a buyer that even said, hey, it's just money.
Mm.
Wow.
And we're 2 days from closing.
Mm.
Oh no.
So this is why I am so adamant now about maybe I need to rethink, this process and all the time that I've wasted. We did 2 extensions and wow, here we go. And this is very disheartening because I get upset. I'm like you, I'm emotional. I get upset. And my husband is calming me down. Babe, it's okay. It's okay. My husband's trying to calm me down. But it's the fact that I want to see you win. And I can't want more for you than you want for yourself. That is so irritating for me. Because if you came to me, then that means you really wanted to be a homeowner.
Right.
So for you to flake on me in the middle, I'm confused. You know what I mean? So I really think that we do have to kind of figure this thing out. How do we not allow our time to be wasted with people who are not serious for real?
But Letitia, you know what? You hit on something, about you wanting it more than they want it for themselves. But then that comes back to, especially in our community, we got to get out of survival mode. We're always in survival mode. And if you're in survival mode and then it gets too hard, whatever, I'll just keep renting for another 20 years because my life is already too crazy. When they don't even realize they're about to break through to the other side.
Right.
It's always darkest before dawn, right?
Right.
Before your breakthrough, it's going to get a little crazy. You got to stick with it.
Yep.
The breakthrough is on the other side. And it's like, look, I'm trying to get you to the other side.
You right there.
Just hold on a little bit longer.
Right there. You're right. You're right there.
So we're in the business of breakthrough. We're trying to help people break through to the other side, to their next level, level up. Right.
Exactly. And I even go as far as giving examples to my buyers. I do, because I've been a homeowner who was purchasing, and it gets crazy. It always gets crazy right before closing. And then here goes your underwriter and they give you these conditions here.
Oh my
now
God.
You're like, wait a minute. So 3 days before closing, you guys didn't know this. You know what I mean? So 3 days before closing, the underwriter comes up with this miraculous thing that we got to do all of a sudden. And so I have been on that floor when I wanted to pull my hair out and say, I cannot believe this. We got to do what now? You guys didn't know this prior. So I always share this with people. It's going to get hard before you get them keys. I promise you. But there's joy on the other side when you're standing in front of your home or you're unlocking that door for the first time as a new homeowner. Or what about when you're building new construction and the process took longer than you thought? Now you got all this equity in your home. Once you close, there are so many different amazing things to home ownership. And if people can just, trust the process, push through the process, then they'll be a homeowner. And it's never easy. Anything that comes easy, most times it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. No. Yeah.
Wow. You guys, we are 30 minutes over.
Right. I feel like this only happened every time you got me on, bro.
Yeah.
I tried to dial it in.
And the funny thing is that it's cool. It's absolutely cool. But I still think we didn't even really scratch the surface
Right.
of what, you know what I mean? But I really, for the sake of time, because I know you guys have things to do, I just have 2 final official questions for you, right? The first one is this. What is the most important attribute that a real estate agent should have? If you had to name one thing, what's the most important thing attribute, personality trait, whatever you want to call it, that a real estate agent has to have. Everyone has to have.
Steadfast.
Yeah.
You have to be steadfast.
Mhm.
You have to be. When they're losing it, you got to keep it together. You can't be losing it with them.
Right.
It has helped me grow tremendously as a human being, emotional intelligence, all that kind of stuff. It's the emotional intelligence and steadfastness. And honestly, he's been a huge source of steadfastness for me, especially when, the way he explained it, how we started off with me starting first.
Mhm.
I used to be to pieces. And I mean, he literally just kept, oh, come on, baby, stick with the dream, stick with the plan. I mean, I was at the beginning, I was always falling to pieces. And he really helped me. And over the years, I've learned to just in general be a more steadfast person. It helped me grow as a person, and emotional intelligence and all that stuff. So emotional intelligence and steadfastness, I would say. What about you? Do you agree with that, or anything you want to add?
Yeah, and being able to connect with your clients, being empathetic, and building that relationship, so it's really more than one attribute, but yeah, I would say, being steadfast and, being able to be empathetic and connect with them and build that relationship, I would say is definitely important.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Chuck said, man, that was a good question, Mike. I mean, that people, you got to think about that as a real estate agent, man, because there's so many layers to what can really make you or break you or make your success. I would say also definitely management, organization, and when I say that, like, you got to get into the habit of even planning out on your calendar. Okay, 6:30, I wake up. 6:45, I'm making coffee. Then by 7 o'clock, I might be working out or I'm making breakfast. Like, you planning out your day so you get into that routine and having that organization. So you can be prepared for, the little things like, oh, this happened.
Mhm.
So now you
Yeah.
got to readjust your day. So like definitely having that management and what your days look like. There are certain things that are constants, right? Every single day. And I think it even goes to that steadfastness. You have to be able to adapt real quick. And if your calendar is not detailed, some people are more detailed than others, but if it is not really outlining what your day looks like, and you could forget about something, or something comes in and it completely throws you off your game, and then you can't go to your calendar to see how you can reorganize, the structure of your day. And it just speaks to, because even Letitia was talking about earlier about perception is everything. When you're organized, I think it brings a calm to you, so when things do happen, your clients see like, oh wow, look how Mike just handled that, so you have that organization and you know what your day looks like, and you're able to adapt whenever necessary. So yeah, some management and organization, balance in life. Definitely make time for your family. Like, my family grounds me, because like they're saying, this can drive you crazy, man. There's people that we deal with, boy. Let me tell you, but it's even the business itself. Just staying on top of what's trendy in the home, where are buyers looking at mostly, what are the market trends like. Staying on top of all the research, right? So having that time and playing dinosaurs with my 8-year-old, or FaceTiming with my older two. We all on a group together, so we'll FaceTime once a week or something, and having that balance in life and just separating it. So if I'm gonna be with my family, my phone is at my. I'm not paying attention to my phone. I'll get to it. You might get a message and say, "Hey, I'll get back to you if I'm on vacation," but you got to have something in place to where if they need something, somebody can pick it up for you.
Right.
But
Right.
if it's family time, it's family time. You got to commit to that. So whatever's on your calendar, you got to commit to those things that are constant and be able to adapt.
I would
Right.
say both of what you guys said are major. Emotional intelligence is really up there. And the reason why I say that is because emotional intelligence allows you to deal with everything else. The organization, being steadfast, because you're not so caught up on just a feeling. Your feelings change. So we have to learn how to have emotional intelligence. But the one that I would say stands out more for me is just honesty. Be a trustworthy person. Be a man or a woman of your word. I am big on that with my children. Just tell me the truth because I can deal with that better and we can find a solution. That is major when you're dealing with your seller. That is major when you're dealing with your buyer. Be upfront with me first so that we can iron out any kinks along the way. I don't like surprises. Don't surprise unless it's my birthday and you bringing me a nice little gift that I didn't know about. These type of surprises that is not gonna get us where we're going. I don't like those type of surprises because now again my time is wasted. I've educated you on the process and you still weren't upfront with me. We're not in this business to judge. We all have been there. We have all been in those shoes where we were renting or first time home buyers or maybe starting over after owning a home and had to go back to renting. You never know what the situation is, but just be a man and woman of your word. That's all I ask for. And we can get through the rest. So.
Okay. Ronci brought up a great point. And it was actually a question that I was going to ask you guys, but I just kind of omitted it. But she kind of touched on it when she was saying how just by virtue of being a real estate agent has caused her to adjust how she navigates life personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like since in all of you guys' experience, do you feel like the process of constantly going through the process of dealing with people and everything like that, has it enhanced any personality traits in you? Have you found out something about yourself that maybe you didn't know prior to, being in the real estate, and how have you related it to your own personal life away from the whole real estate game?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer that one because I'm an introvert, so so I'm definitely not outgoing. But real estate has definitely brought me out of my shell. So I go out talking to people just like Letitia was saying. I'll go out talk to people about just normal stuff, and then it'll flip over to, oh yeah, I'm an agent, this and that. Oh yeah, here's my card, and I never would do that in the past. If I didn't know you or you didn't spark the conversation first, wasn't no conversation getting started. But yeah, so that was definitely definitely transitioned over into my personal life. And now, even helping people, now I'll call up, my friends and say, hey, you want to get into this cryptocurrency, and yeah, I can teach you how to do this and that. And sometimes I'll set aside, we'll get on Zoom, I'll be teaching them how to invest in cryptocurrency and this and that. But yeah, it has definitely transitioned over to my personal life.
Yes. And I mean, it's been really fun for me to see that, to see him grow in that way.
Right.
Well, I mean, he was always, open and talking a lot with me, but to see him like talking a lot to other people, it's like, oh, this is a new side. Like, so, it's cool, and, I'll take the humorous route to answer this question. Years ago, God had me, basically I made a vow to God that I would not drink. And my joke is he knew I was going to be a real estate agent. That's why he made me make that vow, because you can develop a drinking problem. Like, you have to have something to hold on to. You have to have an anchor, because if not, every time something happens, you're gonna be hitting that bottle or something. So I just find it funny that he brought me to that place because, you know, even bad habits can get overdeveloped by going through the things you go through in real estate, but also good things can be enhanced, like he said, with the outgoingness. And for me, I've had to learn how to deal with some of my anxiety issues. I've really had to learn how to deal with that. Once and just to be fully transparent, maybe I'm sharing too much, but I started therapy once you know, being in this industry and going through so many highs and lows. I never did therapy before, but once going through so many highs and lows, I said, let me do this. And the tools I learned to help me control my emotions and be more steadfast. And then I'm able to translate that to my clients. So again, I'm helping them deal with their anxiety. And by dealing with their anxiety, it has helped me to deal with my anxiety. So I've grown. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still working, but it has forced me to deal with some of my issues. So it's helped me grow as a person again.
You've actually made me feel so much better. And I'm just telling you why, because I started having severe anxiety last year. It's never happened until the point I was, I felt like I was having a heart attack. And this was, I remember it distinctly. It was right before we closed on this home. And it was started in August. And I was like, what is going on? My chest was tight because this real estate had become just a beast in my life at some point, especially getting started. And you know, all I could think about was, you asked for this, I prayed for this, and then it just seemed like everything would go wrong. And so I would have this severe meltdown. And I'm a very I like to think and this is something that I hate that people notice, but they're like, you're strong, you're so strong, because we don't want to be strong all the time. You know, we may present that, but I'm always handling things, whatever come my way, I just deal with it. And at that present time, I noticed I couldn't handle it. So what I learned in the real estate business that has transformed over until now my personal life is to extend myself grace. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay that today was not a good day. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to pour that glass of wine, because I do. So, I mean, I'm not going to hit the bottle, but I may get a glass or two. You know what I mean? So it's okay. We just have to extend ourselves grace and know that, you know, everything is not going to go as planned. It's okay for you to step back, take a deep breath, and then refocus and start again. You know, I believe I have this thing with my family, my children. If you see me in my room and my door is shut, do not come in, because I'm having a moment. Allow me to have my moment. If I'm sitting in the car and I'm in the garage and you come out there and I'm just sitting there, go back in, because I'm having my moment. I need a moment, you know. And I think I shared this with Mike. I said, Mike, I gotta have a moment. And that in that moment, I'm rehashing what's happening. If I need to cry, scream, yell, whatever it is I need to do, I have that moment. I shake it off and I start again. I press that reset button. I extend grace to myself and say, hey, it's okay that it didn't work out. Don't be hard on yourself, because I was very critical on myself, all the way from how I wear my hair to, you know, just every little thing. My husband used to be so angry because I didn't even know how to accept the smallest compliment, because I'm so hard on myself. You know, somebody can say, oh, you're beautiful. And I'm like, really? You know, I'm that way. So I had to learn to just say, hey, it's okay. Extend yourself grace and know that everything's not going to pan out the way that it should. And that works tremendously when you're dealing with your buyers, because when they have a meltdown, you can tell them it's going to be okay. If this is not the house, you know, we're going to move on to the next one. You know, if this offer didn't get accepted, it's fine. That means there's a better home for you. So you got to be able to, you know, push that over to them so that they'll understand that everything will not work out as is planned. It's you know, what our grandparents used to tell us: if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Things so ever work out. You know, when you're planning something, something always happens. And if you're a mother and a father, you already know when you plan stuff, it never goes as planned. So extend yourself grace, start again, have a moment, and press reset.
Yes.
Yeah. So man, Mike, you got the good questions.
Yes, right.
I was like,
He
yeah, I'm
made
gonna
us
let
work today. He made us
them
work
think
today.
about it. Let me let them go first so I can think for a second. But no, I think for me, and what I'm gonna say is not that I'm not a confident person. I mean, Mike, you know me, I'm outgoing. You know, I don't have a problem with talking to people, but I think with this industry, and this is why I was a little reluctant to getting into it. And 13 years ago when I was actually interested in real estate, but I feel like it can be a very intimidating industry, right? So when I say it's a confidence that it had that I didn't, I thought, hey, I'm a confident person, I can talk to people and da da da. That's just a small fraction of what you need to be as a realtor. So it's a different type of confidence when you're talking about real estate. And I'm definitely the type of person that would, I will overthink things and in situations to where I'm not as confident. So it's really helped me to really just, step back, just kind of like check myself and not overthink. And it's really helped me to build that confidence within the industry itself. That, even I guess you could say, yeah, my personal life. I mean, my wife will probably say, yeah, she does tell me I overthink things sometimes, but um, I just, it's just like I said, it's just a different type of confidence that it's helped me with, even in outside of real estate, to where I just kind of walk. I feel like I walk with a different type of swag now, and not a cocky swag, but just this different type of swag to where it's like, yo, it's a different type of confidence where you're just a person who's outgoing and you don't have a problem with talking to people versus a confidence with those same attributes. But when you got to get on the phone to somebody and be like, hey, Mike, how you doing? I saw that you had your house on the market, some time ago, and I was just calling to see, what did you think about the, with having those conversations, you get, you start sweating. You're like, dang, I sound like a salesman or something. And, you got to learn these things we call scripts, and, you have to make them yours and make them sound genuine and all of this stuff. And, I'm like, I just rather just go out and meet people and it's like, hey, neighbor, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Chad, and get to know him. Like, oh yeah, I have a real estate business. Like I said, that was the majority of my business, just my SOI, or I'll just be talking to people, never having to really get on the phone. So that was something I had to overcome for myself to be able to be okay to pick up the phone and dial some stranger's number. And, knowing if it's a FSBO or for sale by owner, those are people, like real estate agents, they're like, we're like vultures for them. Like, hold on, I'm gonna watch your house. You've been listing your house now for like 45 days. You have a problem. Let's give you a call. So you got to be okay with the no's, or they're just gonna hang up on you and stuff like that. And that can somebody like me, where like, yo, I talk to people, man. Everybody likes me. Why are you hanging up on me, man? That's like, yo, you just hung up on me, son. Like, yo, what I do, right? So it's a different type of confidence, man. And it was definitely humbling. Like, oh crap, wait a minute, all right, I can really talk to some people,
right?
Just try to get them to even listen to my spiel to. And because I even think about myself, think about when you get a call from some telemarketer or something and you're not in the mood and you're like, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for calling anyway, and click. And we let them get through what they're trying to say. And in my head, I know how I am when I get those calls. So now I feel like I'm that person calling somebody else, So I'm overthinking things.
Right.
It's not just really having a conversation, and that was like a huge obstacle I had to overcome, and I'm still working on that, but yeah, like I said, it's just a different type of confidence outside of real estate.
On a side note, this has nothing to do with real estate, but Chad, weren't you
No, I don't know. What, Mike? What?
Weren't you a backup dancer for
I think my connection is going out. Hold on. Hold on. I think
As I'm sitting here listening to you, it just popped into my head. Why
I'm
don't you
sitting
back
talking to
up
you
there?
about confidence, and you thinking about me being a backup dancer. Yes, man, I was. And I used
Wait,
to
for
kill
who?
that talent
For
show.
who?
It was a guy who went to school with that rap. Chuck, right? His name, matter of fact, Chuck.
Yeah.
No,
Guy
Chuck was
named
my
Chuck.
partner. Chuck was my dance partner.
Yeah.
Chuck was my dance partner. We used to
Who was
dance
the
for
rapper?
Michael Shaw.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Shaw.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to Edison.
Okay.
Me and Chuck went to Wilson. But yeah,
Yeah.
then we were local famous. Did a couple shows at it was called Club Freak at the time and stuff like that. Yo, one time me and Chuck was at I forgot what the club was, but Big Daddy Kane was actually in town for a concert.
Uh-huh.
Scooby Scrap Lover walked into the club and me and Chuck battled him.
What?
It was crazy. We was like, we just battled Scuba Scrap. It was just like all the fun, but yeah, we battled Scuba Scrap Lover.
And I
got a few 15 minutes of fame.
And I was thinking about that as you were talking, as being confident and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, this dude used to be a backup dancer.
Wow.
We're not here to expose people, Mike.
Right. Wow, we live.
No, my point in bringing that up is the fact that he was confident enough to be able to do something like that. Even if I don't have, I can't dance.
I can't either.
And even if I had the gift and ability, I don't know that I would be able to get on stage and actually, do whatever. And when he's talking about that, it just kind of popped in my head. It wasn't meant to be, no shade. It was just, I just remember.
Nah, it's all good. It was fun.
There's nothing wrong, Chad, with hidden talents, because Mike, what he's not disclosing is he got a few of his own. We actually met through singing.
Wait a minute.
We met through singing because I have a love for music. I used to do talent shows, all of that, and I found out Mike could sing, and I was like, whoa. So we all got hidden talents on here.
So Letitia, what you're saying is it's only proper to end this podcast with Mike singing. Is that what you're saying?
Oh my God!
you gonna sing the outro?
Stop it, man! No, that's not what this show is about.
I'll start popping or something. Come on.
Because I know you got a theme song in there somewhere. There's a theme song in there somewhere.
Y'all need to cut it out. Next question. This is my last official question.
I think I may have it though. Let me play. Okay.
Oh. Stop it. This is my last official question for you guys. It's a question that I ask every guest. Just and once I ask it, just think about it and give me the most transparent answer that you can give me. The question is this: what would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
Wow.
This brother deep. You want to go first?
I know for me, it's like I set goals before me. And, once, even small goals, once I've achieved those small goals, I call that a success. And then once I achieve those small goals lead to bigger goals to my main goal. And that's a success, and every time I reach each step and each goal, it's a success. I'm a success, and that's how, I view success. Everybody's going to have a different view, maybe not. But, that's how I view success is, once I'm reaching those goals, sometimes you're going to fail, sometimes you're not. But I only fail when I stop or quit.
Right.
You know what I mean? But as long as I keep going and I reach that goal, I'm a success. I reached my goal. I succeeded. That's my short version of it. That's my introvert version of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, because we're doing it. Like his plan was for me to get in it first. I got in it first. His plan was to leave his 9 to 5 and join. I mean, it's like we're doing all the things. So yes, of course we have higher goals and higher goals. But as far as I'm concerned, I already feel that we're a success because we're doing it.
Right.
And we're just like we reached these goals, we're gonna reach the next goals. And the bottom line, which all of us have brought up before, is generational wealth. And the beautiful thing is it's not just about us building generational wealth, it's about us teaching others to build generational wealth.
Exactly.
So it's like, hey, let's all get this together as a community.
Right.
Let's all thrive together. Let's all succeed together. If you're being a success, I'm being a success, let's be successful together, and let's put our resources together and succeed together. So
right.
Yeah. I would say, like, for me, success is just, it's multi-layered, man. And it's just like Chuck was saying, like, you set goals for yourself, you have a bigger picture, and I'm come from my educator background from 20 years of teaching, is we set that bigger picture, right, of what we want our students to know, and we plan backwards. It's backward design, right? That's what we call it. Lesson planning by backward design. I know where I see myself, that bigger picture. So what are those steps I have to take to get there? And I scaffold those steps and I knock out each one of those steps, right? But it also goes back to what Ronti just said, like, success is, are you doing what you set out to do, right? There's always room for improvement. Are we ever really going to be where we want to be? If it's something tangible, is it a dollar amount that you want in your bank account? Or is it a house or a square footage of a house you want? Is that determine or define your success? Are they tangible things? For me, it's just like that feeling. I just know, am I where I want to be as a real estate agent? Absolutely not. But do I feel successful? Absolutely do. Because it's a feeling, and I know I'm taking those steps to where I see myself, going back up to the Adirondacks to own a cabin up there and use it as an Airbnb or jet skiing or something, or just living life. That's for me a success. It's just a feeling that you have when like, yeah, all right. I feel successful. Am I where I want to be as an agent? No, not at all. And even if the dollar amount was up there, would I still be where I want to be as an agent? Probably not, because I don't want to sell and be an agent forever. I would like to build a team, let them sell, and then go coach, newer agents to help build their brand.
Yeah.
So, so again, it's just like, what is it you want to do in life? And are you taking the necessary steps? And like I think Letitia was talking about earlier, like, you fail, right? But failure only has meaning when you quit.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't quit, if you don't tap out, you just found something that didn't work. You didn't fail. You just, all right, that didn't work. So I know what not to do. Right? But when you quit, that's when you give failure definition. When you like, I can't do this no more. And then now you fail. But if you hit that bottom and you like, oh man, that hurt. Ouch. Okay, I'm not doing that again. All right, let me do this differently. Right. You didn't fail. You just found a way that didn't work. So
for me, I always say, define what success looks like for you. Everyone's success won't look the same. So I don't, I try my best not to focus on how successful someone else is. Although those can be inspirations and motivations, I don't define myself by someone else's success. Because the fact that I was able to get out of bed when I know there was a moment I couldn't, that's success for me. Being able, the things that people take for granted, being able to go and do something as simple as do my own hair and bathe myself, because there was a time I couldn't due to my surgery. That was success for me. And so if you wake up and you're able to pursue your purpose, when you wake up and you know that God is giving you another day to move forward, you wake up and you have another opportunity at life, that's success for me. because now we have an opportunity to get this thing right. And nothing will ever be perfect, but you have to be perfect in moving forward. So to me, getting up, pursuing your purpose, making it happen, no matter what it looks like, and continuing to push through whatever you're going through is success for me. It's not about a dollar amount, because I don't care. No amount of money can buy you peace and joy. It's about living your purpose, achieving all that God has planned for you, and just changing people's lives. You know what I mean? Making a difference. If I was to pass away today, God forbid, I want to know that I impacted someone, that people remember me not by just the smile on my face or the car that I drove or the house that I lived in, but they can actually stand up and say, hey, there were some things this sister taught me and I'll take it with me for a lifetime. Or there's some things that she said, or, just knowing that you were a good human being. That's success to me.
Awesome.
Yes.
Very awesome. Okay, guys. This is Let's Take a Walk. I had Mr. and Mrs. Chuck and Roncie Collins, Mr. Chad Anderson, Mrs. Letitia Royal. We've spoken about everything real estate, business, and a little bit of personal stuff too. If there's somebody out there who has watched this and feel like they want to reach out, get some advice, or maybe they're looking for a home, I don't know. How can someone get in touch with you?
All right. Well, we have our Facebook business page. I can get my number out. Both of our, it'll come to either one of us. 757-741-8225. 757-741-8225. You can call, text. You'll get either one of us. Yep. You can look us up on Facebook. I mean, there's no other Roncie Collins. So if you find my page, it'll lead you straight to our business page, and my number's on there. So, yep, you'll get us that. You can get us that way through Facebook or through the number I gave you.
All right.
I'm Letitia Royal. So, we want Chad to go? You go.
You go either way. Go ahead. You already started.
I have a Facebook page, Letitia Polite Royal. I also have a business page at Your Royal Real Estate Lady on Facebook and Instagram at Your Royal Real Estate Lady. And I'm also at www.yourroyalrealestately.
And Chad Anderson, so you can call me 585-730-2439. Or you can shoot me an email at chad.anderson@exprealty, REALTY, not realty, realty.com. People would mess it up. They be like, I sent you an email, but like, I didn't get it. Isn't that REALI? No, there's no I, just realty. That's it. So yeah, just if you just want to talk, just email me, call me. Like I said, conversation doesn't cost nothing but time. And it can change your life, and you can end up with hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket at the end of that conversation sometime after. So call one of us. So now, Mike, you're gonna sing it. You're gonna sing that.
No, Lord. Now, see. Now I can't get you to get up and dance or whatever, but you gotta get
Nah.
Terrible, yo. Terrible.
It was nice meeting all of you.
I enjoyed you all. I'm going to find all y'all online.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I didn't even give out. Yeah, I'm on Facebook at, Chad Anderson or the Senna Team, and Instagram, Senna Team on Instagram. It'll come, you'll pop right up.
Yeah, it's always my ultimate goal to, like, especially when I do panel interviews like this, it's always my hope that there's some connection made, some type of network being made between the guests and whoever watches the replay or watches it live or whatever. I always want that connection to be made. That's that's what this platform's goal is, to try to bring people together who wouldn't ordinarily find their way to each other, in hopes that we'll find some type of overlap. You know what I mean? And maybe you have somebody that's going to Virginia that you can hit Chuck and Ronti up. Somebody might be going to Jacksonville, you can hit Tish up, or however it goes. But that's the ultimate goal of this platform. And I just want to thank you guys again. I really appreciate you taking this time. I mean, we literally did 2 hours, and it didn't feel like 2 hours. But I thank you again, over and over again, profusely for just lending your wisdom and being transparent and honest and open about all the things that we discussed here tonight. I know I learned a lot, so I'm quite sure that whoever was watching and whoever chooses to rewatch this on YouTube or whatever will definitely learn from this. But with that being said, I will not hold you guys any longer. Why is everybody smirking?
Wait, he said, with that being said, I thought he was about to bust out a note or something.
No.
Well, that being said,
This guy, man, this guy right here, man, this guy right here. But anyway, I want to
Did you hear that run?
You said what?
Did you hear that run? He hit a run now. That was a
Yeah,
good
he
one.
killed it, right? He killed it. Literally.
no. Yeah, literally. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
My son crying now. He's like, what was that noise? There's an animal outside.
But I thank you guys again, man. You guys have a wonderful night and an awesome weekend, man. And I look forward to having you on again at some point. Again, I learned a lot, and I'm very grateful for everything that you expressed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
You guys have an awesome night.
All right, you
All right, you
too.
too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace. There you go, guys. We went a little over today, but listen, when you're learning, it doesn't feel like time is going by fast. But I thank everybody that chose to come on and watch. I thank everybody, all the panelists, and I encourage you guys to watch the replay if you came on late. Check it out. It's a lot to learn, man. And if you in any one of those areas, South Carolina, Virginia, or Florida, hit them up, and you're in the market to sell or buy a home or whatever, hit them up. But with that being said, you guys have a great night and an awesome weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Let's take a walk.